KSR is live here at SEC Media Days on Radio Row, and now we're joined by the man, the myth, the legend from TexAgs.com. It's Billy Liucci, and Billy is here today to help us understand the Texas Longhorns and this rivalry that's being renewed. We know a thing or two about rivalries, but I don't know if we know just how nasty A&M and Texas is. Can you help us understand what this rivalry is like?
I remember in my day, I didn't play. I was living with the guys that did. I remember guys knocking over the members of the Longhorn band when they were crossing, getting in their way to the locker room. I remember an A&M player punching a Longhorn fan that ran onto the field. That was on the front page of the Houston Chronicle sports section back when a player can punch a fan on the field, it be in the paper and no repercussions. So I think things have tempered down since then. I've been to Austin many times. It's intense, particularly for that rivalry. That brings out I would say it brings out the worst. I think it brings out the best in both fans. I think Texas has had a rival. They'll tell you OU's their biggest rival. I do think it's the most unique rivalry game. Sark was just saying that. I agree with him. I think people have forgotten this game and how much it matters because it is the state. It's the state of Texas. Most kids on both teams considered both schools, right to the finish. Not every battle is Aggie Longhorn, but most of them are Aggie Longhorn and one or two others. And it's just what you grow up with. And there's I have a ton of Longhorn friends. I respect a lot of things, whether it's the school, some of those programs, but you don't like them. You like your friends, but you don't like, and it's kind of like what comes with losing anything to Texas or losing anything to A&M. Both sides will just be unfreaking bearable. So there's that you have to carry around too. But the intensity of that rivalry when those two teams meet at Kyle Field is going to be insane. I'm not sure it's going to be able to compare to the baseball rivalry now. So that thing just went up a million notches. So that it's pretty. It's somewhere between family and hate. It's weird.
And that's passion, right? Somewhere it's a fine line between love and hate.
Now that it's back, is it like a missing piece has now been replaced? Now that you have that game, especially at the end of the year, Thanksgiving, and all of that comes with that.
Absolutely, and a lot of people want it on Thanksgiving night, and I know that's been a question here, but I don't care personally. Right. It's Thanksgiving weekend. It's the Thanksgiving holiday. It's football on Thanksgiving. I don't care if it's the night or I kind of like Saturday.
Sure.
Thanksgiving Day, it gets crazy when you're on the road and you don't really get to do Thanksgiving with your family. But regardless, it is tradition. It's what most people in the state of Texas grew up on. I met a buddy this last football season in Kansas City. We start talking about the Manziel documentary. He grew up in Pflugerville. He's now on Saturday Night Live. He said, man, if I could get to one football game, can you get me to A&M, Texas? I'm from Pflugerville, Texas. I grew up on that. And people have been waiting for this for 12 years, whether you're an Aggie Longhorn or just a fan of football in this state. And I think the SEC, as you guys are sitting here asking about it, I think everyone is just like this morbid curiosity because it is A&M's going from not having a rival. We were joking about the A&M Kentucky budding between basketball, baseball, like this budding, the Mark Stoops thing. And now it's like, but A&M hasn't had a rival. The LSU one, there's dislike and there's,
it meant something a little bit, but it's not a rival.
You don't base your year around it. You don't live and die by what happens in volleyball and soccer and track and field and baseball, whatever, like you will with this one. You don't keep score, right, of the whole ledger. This one you will, and the Aggies haven't really had a rival, and now they do. So, and I think you're vaulting up into Iron Bowl, Red River, Egg Bowl, Cocktail Party. I think the A&M Texas one will be right up there near the top.
So we know why we hate Louisville. They're delusional fans. They don't really know what football is.
I agree.
Yeah, they got no clue. Tennessee fans, they're just obnoxious, right? They're just so over the top. They live like it's still 1998. They're really easy to hate. So what makes Texas so easy to hate?
You're gonna do this to me. It's gonna be it's the level of arrogance. It is. I think I hear people say that about Ohio State. I haven't had a lot of experience with Ohio State. I actually have some Buckeye friends, so I'm going to stop short and just piss off my Longhorn friends. No, I think it's a level of arrogance and almost, just this entitlement. And you guys are starting to see it.
Yeah. We're going to learn.
You're going to go to Austin this year. But they're good people. They are. And Aggies will get mad at me for saying that. But, man, there is a level. And if a Longhorn individually, I know some that aren't like this, but as a unit, there is a high level of entitlement and arrogance that makes you just want to beat them. But in the reality, though, too, is they are really good across the board athletically. And they're going to come in and they're going to be really good at a lot of sports. We're here to talk football, though, right now, today. And that's going to be one. I think they're coming in for them at the right time. Sark was the right hire, SEC background. They've had 2 years, which rubs this Aggie the wrong way. They've had 2 years to build, almost 3 cycles to build an SEC roster. They've done a good job of doing that. But, man, with that entitlement, with that sauntering in here, the expectations are really high for them this season. It's not the Big 12 anymore. No. You guys know that. Yeah. The only sport, and I know there's another exception I'm forgetting, but the only sport that I think you can legitimately say, hey, the Big 12 is just as tough or tougher is basketball. That's it. And I mean softball, baseball, like you name it. But football, man, it's a different beast. Like you play an 8-4 A&M or something, you have to go to Kyle Field. You play Kentucky. People think, oh, it's Kentucky basketball. Well, go play a Mark Stoops team with a veteran offensive line. And the way they played, like that, you play them after you play somebody tough and before you play somebody tough, and you overlook Kentucky, they're beating you. LSU overlooks A&M a couple years ago. They get drilled at Kyle Field as they're heading to the SEC West SEC title. That doesn't happen in the Big 12 generally. Yeah. So it's not that week to week. You do get weeks off in the Big 12. I've been there. I've seen it. You don't get them off in the SEC.
One of my favorite things about this league is you have your big rivals, but you also have your secondary rivals. Like for Kentucky right now, it's South Carolina. It's the Beamer Stoops thing.
Oh, yeah.
And for A&M, it was like the LSU thing kind of created with the Jimbo and all that. So in the league and in Texas, what is going to be the Texas set, like the first team they really piss off? Like who is it going to be that we're not expecting right now?
Well, apparently it's Tennessee.
Yeah.
Right now, it seems they're gonna piss off everybody. But right now, it appears to be Tennessee. The whole real UT thing, and at least on Twitter, Texas fans. And it's funny because they were all rooting for Tennessee to beat A&M in the World Series, and when Tennessee won in Omaha, it was like yes, the streak continues. But now Tennessee comes out and they start this UT thing, and now Texas has completely turned on Tennessee. And the Tennessee fans are already like, we're already sick of you guys. The beauty of that is they don't even play on the field yet. So I guess it'll be when Rick Barnes and the Longhorns tee it up. Look, Vitello and Slosh are not, they coach together, they're not pen pals. They're not sending Christmas cards. So that Texas-Tennessee baseball rivalry will be pretty good pretty quickly as well.
It's going to be fun to have them in, and it's going to be even more fun if maybe they're on their way to a college football playoff. The thing that makes rivalries great is you can also play spoiler, and man, it would be a real shame if A&M played spoiler to end the year.
I might kind of like that, but I would honestly though I would love it imagine if both teams had playoff hopes.
Yeah.
And I'm not ready to make an A&M season prediction. And it's year 1 under Elko. They have a lot of talent. That schedule's still it's an SEC schedule plus Notre Dame to start. Imagine if like both teams were 9-2. Like Texas lost to Georgia and dropped maybe one other one, and it's 9-2. essentially for a spot in this 12-team playoff. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, by the way, who's Kentucky's secondary rival right now? Has it become Arkansas because of all the...
That's got a chance to really take off. The Tennessee thing, they've been playing for a long time. Tennessee fans live so close. Tennessee's kind of dominated the football series, and that's been a big basketball one, too, because they like to say they have the most wins in basketball, even though they played 300,000 times, but Tennessee's got the most wins. So I would say Tennessee, South Carolina is really the big one right now, don't you think, Nick?
Shane Beamer has made the sunglasses. That's become a thing, and especially because for both teams, if you're going to be a 7-8 win team, you got to beat the other.
Yeah, you got to get past
So that's how that's been amplified. But we're excited. We're going to get our first trip to 40 acres. We're going to get to experience it all. And you know what? If Mark Stoops can do A&M any favors, he might not be your coach, but he might soften him up a little bit for this big rivalry game.
That would be nice. And Austin's a great city. Enjoy the lake, and y'all will get some wonderful food there. I think it's cliche at this point to say the barbecue's outstanding, but there's plenty of other food there too. You guys apparently aren't coming to College Station anytime soon.
No.
So.
And you're never going to come to Lexington ever.
No, it doesn't look like it. It's such a ridiculous. I was telling him I have been to Lexington a few times for basketball back in the Billy Clyde era,
Sure.
which you guys have probably forgotten. But it was
Selective memory.
Listen, I think I derailed it. Y'all can blame me, thank me. I went down there. It was Kentucky, Tennessee. Kentucky was in first place in the SEC at the time. Bruce Pearl, Tennessee, Kentucky, Rupp Arena. I got to kind of run out onto the court with the team out of the locker room. I'm running right behind Patterson and Meeks. They drilled Tennessee. After a long night at Malone's the night before, they drilled Tennessee by 20. They're in first place. We leave town. I've got Kentucky swag for days. I still have that velour warm-up from that era in the blue Air Force Ones. They don't win another SEC game, and I think that was it. And then a month later,
Stole the swag.
They're chasing Billy through the lobby or whatever, and that was, I think I was like the swag killer of that, vibe killer.
We found the Billy who stole Billy swag. We did. Billy Liucci from TexAgs.com. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Appreciate y'all.